Hello, everybody, and welcome to Share What You're Making with Chair and Bacon. I am your host, Chair. Alongside me is Bacon. Hello, Bacon.
Greetings, Chair.
Bacon, for our inaugural episode, we have the mythical Penguin joining us today. Penguin of metagame lore, of a benevolent presence within the Web3 space.
Yeah, literally any project you can name, and Penguin's a part of it.
I was lucky enough to meet Penguin earlier this year. He is the nicest flightless bird I've ever met.
Yeah, he may be flightless technically, but he flies in the Web3 space. Does that work? Is that a
Absolutely.
thing? Okay.
Today, Penguin will be talking to us about NTFA.io. That's Never Touch Fiat Again, NTFA.io. They are gold-backed or NFTs that own gold, and Penguin will get into the clarity on that subject.
Yeah, it makes that important distinction that it's NFTs that own gold and not NFTs that are gold backed.
This piques my curiosity for a number of reasons. I started investing into gold earlier, or at the beginning of COVID. So this seems like an obvious yet very still, but obvious but still very interesting development within the NFT space. We heard for a long time about NFTs representing assets, but now also owning assets. Very excited.
It also almost brings things kind of full circle because, like, when Bitcoin first hit, like when Bitcoin first started, it was the whole start of cryptocurrency and a currency thing. But when it kind of first hit mainstream investing, it was viewed as kind of the digital gold. And like, I actually historically haven't been that interested in investing in gold because I would rather invest in cryptos because they kind of have a similar market performance to the way gold does if you're doing kind of TradFi or traditional investing. So it's interesting that now that we have this investment unit that kind of historically has tracked gold compared to the regular market, that now we kind of have within the cryptocurrency space this NFT that goes back to actual gold. And so it's kind of like fully completing the circle as, you know, kind of the crypto space tries to go mainstream and kind of fully encompass kind of the economic markets that traditional finance has typically, if any of that made sense.
It does make sense, though it might be intimidating to people who don't live their entire lives within the Web3 space. And another interesting aspect of this project that Penguin touches on just slightly, but is quite interesting to me, is that Vinny Gupta is involved, and he is someone who I have listened to hours of his talks on YouTube and elsewhere, and is quite influential on me and my outlook and informing me, educating me about Bitcoin and Ethereum. So quite an interesting person to be an advisor, to be working on the project as well. So again, that's ntfa.io, never touch fiat again.io. Bacon, without further ado, here is our chat with Penguin. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I am here with Bacon as always, and we are joined by Penguin,
Hey,
head of the NTFA.io project. Hello, Penguin. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Chair. Bacon, great to see you.
Nice to see you as well, Penguin. Glad to be here with you, Chair, as always.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're here to talk Never Touch Fiat Again, or NTFA.io. The auction is currently live on OpenSea. Penguin, what can you tell us to start out about this project? It looks like it's NFTs backed by gold.
Yeah, a lot of NFTs, kind of wondering what is the value of my NFT. And NTFA, we give away free gold with our NFTs. They're not just backed by gold, the NFT actually owns the gold. So I partnered with Vinay Gupta of Materium, previously of the Ethereum Foundation. And he helped me to get the legal paperwork in line so that the NFTs can own gold. So if you buy the NFTs, you get gold for free.
Now, does buying the NFT and holding the NFT entitle you to the gold, or can you describe the process of obtaining the gold?
Yeah. So what happens when you buy the NFT is, as I said, the NFT is the owner of the gold. So if you go to the local application, which does the vault management, then you can request the gold to be sent to you, delivered, and they have secure delivery mechanisms. And when that happens, we also send you the upgraded NFT. So our NFTs evolve if you claim the gold, and keeping it kind of paired with the gold is kind of like keeping the gold in the box. So the way to get the first evolved mint one is to actually claim your gold. So we want people to take custody of the gold rather than leave it inside the NFT.
Interesting. Because my understanding was that you had to previously, I know almost nothing about this, which is a part of why we're doing this. So Chair is kind of the guy who knows about this, and I'm kind of the guy who is much like our listeners and knows nothing about this. And so previously, I thought you had to burn the NFT to get the gold. So it's interesting to see that they evolve once you claim the gold. Is there additional steps in the evolution beyond that?
No, right now we've got the two-step evolution kind of gold packaged. And I like to think of it kind of like an action figure, right? So when you have the action figure in the box, it's, you get the collection. It's like, but instead of mine getting less valuable when you open it, it gets more valuable and you get free gold.
Yeah, that's actually really cool and a really good analogy. So that's kind of neat. So yeah, so actually owning the gold makes the NFT more valuable, like opening it. It's actually more valuable. That's pretty neat. I'm also curious as to just, I mean, you may or may not have the answer to this question, but just out of curiosity, the shipping process for the gold, how does one ship gold? Do you know, or is that not in your purview?
Yeah, so they have licensed gold shippers. That's Loco that has that. So to take custody of the gold, you'll have to KYC and everything. Obviously,
Gotcha.
you're not going to be able to get delivery or take custody of the gold without recognizing who you are. But yeah, the delivery process is secure and insured, and yeah, everything is from a reputable gold dealer and bulk. You can also pick up the gold in Singapore yourself if you uh, manage to make it through customs during COVID, but Singapore kind of shut itself down right now.
Makes sense. I mean, good excuse to go to Singapore though, once restrictions are lifted though, I
Oh
guess.
yeah,
So is that on your travel itinerary to go to Singapore, collect some gold?
definitely. Yeah, I've been to Singapore before and I loved it. It was one of my favorite countries, actually.
Just don't drop your gold on the ground, or if you do, pick it right back up. Uh,
Good tips in general, not just for traveling to Singapore, I suppose.
Penguin, I see three different art designs here. Can you talk about the artists that contributed to this and perhaps how the art changes once the gold is redeemed?
So one of the big kind of motifs that we were going for were like far dystopian future. I kind of picked a little bit of ominous, but also very kind of like street friendly things. So as you said, we've got three different NFTs. We've got one of them called the Piggy Banksy, which has a pig balloon, very reminiscent of like Pink Floyd. And so LKH redid the industry scene from the wall, and we created the pig balloon. So the pig balloon actually floats out of the NFT for Piggy Banksy. And I won't spill the beans too much for how they evolve, but let's just say that the world is not the same uh, after after the evolution process, and it's kind of a playful take on it. I also there's like stats for each one of these that kind of reflect like luck and
So it's a playful take on the cataclysmic ending of society as you know
that's
it.
right.
It's good. Always something to have a good playful take on.
Yeah, and the Piggy Banksy's got 1 ounce of gold, so that's kind of like the entry level NFT. Where I also wanted to go with like the piggy bank as like a childhood kind of symbol. So it's got like money symbols, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen the Pink Floyd pig balloon, but it's very ominous as well. And then if you take the next step is the space cowboy. So we took basically an astronaut and we put him on the street, gave him a whole bunch of bling and some gold chains, and he's sitting on top of a nuclear warhead because you know he's a whale. So, and in that one, that also there's a lot of destruction that happens in the evolution, and that one was created by Malibity. My life is better than yours. Marco Zubak designed the space cowboy.
Yeah. And he also says Houston, Houston, we're
That's
gold.
right, we're golden. And yeah, so there's kind of like a play on the fact that each one of these NFTs literally is like rights to gold. So rather than Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we've got gold. You know, I wanted to make it kind of crazy. I wanted to be like if you were seeing astronaut walking on the street. Like, rather than people going to the moon, now they're walking around on Earth in spacesuits. So that one kind of takes you like the full of.
I mean, with COVID right now, that doesn't seem all that far fetched, to be honest.
Not at all, especially if you got as much money as the Space Cowboy.
Yeah.
But the evolution is really with the Vector 777. And so the Vector V12, people might not know about it. It was kind of one of the dream cars from the 90s. The Lamborghini Diablo had a special handmade like sister car called the Vector V12. So it's styled a little bit differently. And when I was a kid, my friend had a poster and it had machine guns above its headlights. But in the dystopian future, machine guns aren't going to cut it. We straight put rocket launchers on the back of basically a super customized Lamborghini Diablo, known as the Vector. And so that's what's in the Vector 777. So that one's shooting off a whole bunch of rockets as well. And we used the design in the website. So that one was kind of a mix of all of us. That's Mizanth, LKH, Milibity, and myself worked a lot on that one.
Oh, Miss Santa's involved in this project too?
Yeah, Mizanth has been a critical component, and he's one of the leads with me on this project.
I like this Vector one, this Vector 777 It's got like those rocket launchers. You're selling it short a bit there. It's like service to air missile launchers. It's got like the whole box there, and it's a nice like a line art kind of. It's like a gold line art on black background, kind of almost like a schematic sketch effect going on there.
We also added music to all of them, so they're synced to music, and there's 3D art. So the card rotates, and yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of excitement doing it. And the Vector 777 has 100 grams of gold, so it's a little over 3.5 ounces of gold.
Yeah, and you're selling it short again with the music. I just unmuted this because I didn't realize there was music, and I realized it was on mute by default. So I unmuted this Vector 777, and it was like extremely dramatic bassline, like movie special effects. Very it was a lot. I was not expecting that. I almost jumped out of my chair here.
I definitely recommend checking out the Piggy Banksy. The sound effect on that one is just so clutch too. So not only does it have music, but the pig actually pops out of the card. That's one of my favorite parts of the Piggy Banksy. We also have special wearables. So anyone that buys one of the golden NFTs will get a golden pig wearable. We did a drop with MetaFactory last week that sold out in a day. And anyone who bought one of those gets one of the robot pig wearables. So I made a set of wearables that coincide with this that match the Piggy Banksy. So for various different communities, we're giving away some of the wearables to give to their followers and community. So we'll give you some of the wearables too to give out.
Did you say that the MetaFactory drop sold out already for this?
Yeah, the MetaFactory drop sold out before we even got a post on it. So it was an instant sellout.
I'm also sad that we didn't record this podcast before that, so I could have grabbed. This looks like it would have been some good swag.
Well,
nice.
I invite our listeners to visit NTFA.io so they too will get a shot at grabbing things before they drop. Also, OpenSea.io/collection/NTFA will take you directly to the collections page, and you can see the current bids as well as check out the art and the music. And it is indeed epic. To say that the Vector 777 NFT is fire, I think is appropriate in this case.
Also, buy real gold while you're at it. Also, Chair, you failed to mention that you're buying real gold when you're bidding on these NFTs.
And the element of the NFT owning the gold rather than you redeeming or burning the NFT is actually it's one of those interesting paradigms I haven't completely wrapped my mind around. But less focused on who owns the gold. Do you see expanding the metals that these NFTs are owning in the future into platinum, silver, or others?
Yeah, so we definitely can do silver, and we can do whatever the vault will allow us to buy. Right now, we're kind of focused on gold because gold is king. Also, with kind of inflation looming around the corner, we wanted to make sure that we had some hard assets backing it. So the possibility is there to get into other metals, but something like silver doesn't have the same kind of wow factor of bringing gold on for the Genesis set. So yeah, our first one is gold, and we're going to do probably more after this with new artists. So we did all the paperwork so that this can be a way to bring on like value, real world assets into NFTs and like really do something crazy with digiphysical ownership. And yeah, Materium has been really clutch as a partner for that.
I think I see this as an excellent bridge into the more normie camp of users who are looking at NFTs, who are looking to diversify their portfolios, who are looking to be in this wave, in this ecosystem. But it is a difficult sell sometimes when the NFT is just a JPEG, is just a PNG. But the utility, the functionality of what NTFA is offering, I think, is probably what we are all moving towards. So it's very exciting to see this type of project take shape, to be launched, to be live. The potentials that exist beyond it are absolutely amazing. Penguin, if you could give sort of your outlook for where you would like to see NTFA go in 1 year, 3 years, your sort of optimum outcome, I would say, or a progression within this project, if you could describe that a little bit.
Sure. The optimum outcome is going to be to have really great reception. We did some Forbes interview. I talked with Whale Shark. I've been talking with a lot of big NFT collectors, things like that. And one of the things that they've all said to me is that there's a lot of projects that there's not really any reason to buy them. And even when I buy an NFT, I usually buy an NFT because I like the person. I support what they're doing and I want them to do more of it. And this is a utility that helps basically enrich yourself. I, I've never owned 100 grams of gold before. And this is an opportunity for people all over the world to own hard assets and basically for the same price that they were paying for JPEGs. And what I see in the next year, as I see signing on a few more artists right now, I don't have any contracts in place with other artists, but I'm reaching out to Twisted Vacancy and some of my other really big friends to see if they want to do golden editions. I also have two other artists kind of already lined up that they're really interesting, but I can't release their names right now.
You don't want to drop that hot alpha for our listeners here?
No, sorry, I can't for those ones. But
All right, listeners, I tried.
yeah,
Sorry, Dad.
basically, in the next year, I want to be a platform for artists to drop golden editions for their NFTs. I want to make it so that the pathway towards owning assets is baked into this NFT process. And I've spent way more on NFTs that had nothing backing them. And now I'm making NFTs that I'm also a game designer. So the 5-year goal would be that these are also part of a game that you can play. But yeah, the first step is to get more artists dropping gold to get the price closer to the gold itself, so there's not as much markup, and to make it more programmatic. That's probably the midterm goal, is to take some of, because each one of them is very unique right now, and I'd like to make it a little bit more automated so that artists don't have to make as one-off of items, and so they can be able to pick, these are my options, these are the release mechanics, and so I'd like to make it more automated and do more drops with more artists.
As you described that process, something struck me, and perhaps we'll take a side quest here for a moment. Is there a pathway for an artist who has created an NFT, or perhaps even an owner of an NFT created by some other artist, to make it so that NFT also owns some gold potentially? I know we might be getting a little abstract here, if that makes sense. So I own an NFT. Was created by someone. It is in my possession, and I would like to back it in gold Do you see down the line potentially a scenario like that?
Yeah, I mean that's a great idea, and I mean especially if you think of something like Avogachis, right, where we've got wrappers for assets. I think that's a great idea. I don't think we've fully thought of that yet, and I think one of the challenges with it will be that your NFT is part of another contract, so the contract isn't verified as having real world assets. But I could totally see something that has like a wrapper where you can, as I described it at the start, we've got like the boxed asset, right? So I could see
Mm-hmm.
presenting the original NFT and the hard asset and then putting them together in a box. So rather than the unboxing, it's like a boxing. And that way,
Bundling.
we would be able to potentially create a new golden version of that NFT, which is the new box version. So that's a great idea, and it's possible, but it wouldn't directly be that same NFT. That NFT would be now wrapped in a real world asset NFT.
Very
Interesting.
interesting.
That's good to hear. So I actually have a question for Chair now. And so, Chair, my question is: of your many NFTs that you own, which would be your first choice to wrap and back with gold?
Haha. Without opening up my OpenSea portfolio, um,
Just
I
off the top
own.
of your head, what do you
Yeah,
got?
top of my head. I mean, it's got to be. I have a blue Kirby-mon Pokemon card that brought me very good luck at the beginning of DeFi
Interesting.
summer, and it seemed like as soon as I had purchased that NFT, things started going north, and so. And it was only I actually bought 3 of them and gave 2 of them away. And it was when I gave the 2 away that the good juju really started happening. So I
Sweet.
would back that final one with some gold and bury it deep forever. So
Nice.
that the
Nice.
juju can emanate for everyone.
Gold juju.
Yes. I'll shoot it back at you. What would be your favorite?
Well, I haven't aped into too many NFT projects, but I do think that'd be really awesome. I've got some of those Zed Run horses, and a gold Zed Run horse would be awesome, particularly if it became gold when you looked at it. I think that'd be really cool. But obviously that would require working with the Zed Run platform. But really awesome to have a golden Zed Run horse.
That sounds amazing.
We've been tossing around Never Touch Fiat Again, NTFA, but can you talk a little bit about the name, why that direction was chosen, and sort of maybe the ideology around that?
Sure. I think the name is really great. I love the name. I love the concept. And the idea is that banks have a phobia of crypto. They cancel people that do crypto trading sometimes. There's a whole bunch of loopholes that the bank doesn't like with crypto. But what they don't tell you is that the bank really loves gold. They're never going to close your account for selling gold to them. And they also have a real control over like our money. So over my crypto history, I've consistently been burning fiat and trying to go as much crypto as possible. And now I'm at a point where the concept is to never touch fiat again. I pretty much try and pay my landlord and pay my bills. And aside from that, I try and live in a crypto world. So that means my assets are NFTs, my assets are digital currency, and having a way to exit to gold essentially means that you can now use some of the assets you've been making to withdraw gold, and you can now pay for or deposit things based off of what you earned in crypto without having to have an off ramp, without having to switch back to USD. And so that's the idea between never touching fiat again, is using digital currencies and kind of playing the game the way that the banks want you to play rather than the way that we've been doing it. And right now we've been kind of supporting the fiat system, and inflation is coming so fast and so hard that anyone that's holding their money in a stable US dollar or fiat is going to get wrecked. So it's also a reminder to people that, you know, don't hold your money in stable or USD because the revolution is here.
Yeah, I mean, what's inflation over the past year? It's like well over 5%, I think. But yeah, no. So that's interesting. And I think it sounds like that's a whole other topic that we'll have to get into at some point in time. Probably in a future episode, we'll have to get you back to see about how you can live entirely with crypto assets and not fiat money at all, and where we are so far and where we have to go.
An essential episode. Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the most gratifying things throughout my crypto journey has been purchasing some gold with Bitcoin and sending it to my father for safekeeping. And you can turn your tokens back into cash, certainly. And I always feel dirty when I do. But it didn't feel, it felt quite clean and natural turning it into gold. There is something about the gratifying sort of feeling about that for a user, I think, that will create some stickiness.
And I think as
Should.
far as long-term wealth goes as well, you're a lot less likely to spend your gold than you are to spend a couple $100.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot harder to part with and split and separate. It's fungible, but it's not easily fungible if it's in a bar.
There's also one other small aspect. I know we're a little long, but I think it's really important that the gold that you buy isn't just you're buying some gold, you're buying a specific gold bar, which is a complete switch on something like the Bullion Star or the other tokens where you have like fractions of gold. And so in that case, the where you hold gold would be held in debt, meaning that they own it and you have a claim to a certain amount. With the serial and allocated bars, how we've done it, you actually own a specific bar and they're holding your property. So if they go under or anything else, it's your property. They have to return the gold to you. So it's a huge flip. It is actually your gold rather than their gold that you own.
That you can have rights to. So many things are being flipped on their head. I commend you for the bravery and the chutzpah that it takes to go down this road. I am certainly a fan of this project, and I'm excited to have you back. Excited to talk more about NTFA and living life outside of the fiat paradigm. Please visit ntfa.io. That's Never Touch Fiat Again, ntfa.io. You can visit the collection on OpenSea at opensea.io/collection/NTFA. The auction is live now. Get your chance to own real gold, real art of the future. Penguin, thank you so much. We are so lucky to have had Penguin as our guest on our inaugural episode, pumping Never Touch Fiat Again. That's ntfa.io. I really enjoyed that interview. How about you, Bacon?
I did as well. It's always great to talk with Penguin and the latest of his projects. He's a very prolific man. It's always great to talk with him and see what he's working on.
Gold-backed NFTs, certainly the first of its kind, probably not the last.
People do like gold.
Yeah, and some of the other features that go along with it, namely the contracts and sort of the other more ancillary, more code-based features of this project, and the fact that the NFTs themselves own the gold, right?
Yes, it's certainly one to watch. I mean, I'm starting to become sold. When we originally started, I was like, why do I want to buy gold? Why do I want to buy an NFT of gold? But I'm starting to come around to it. I'm starting to get sold on the concept a little bit here. See if I actually pick one up or not. But I'd also like to remind our listeners to check out MetaGame, particularly if you're new to the crypto space or the DAO space or the Web3 space or don't know what any of those things mean. MetaGame is always a good place to check out, and they have a very helpful wiki. That's metagame.wtf or wiki.metagame.wtf. Check those URLs out now.
Please look out for further episodes coming out. We will be interviewing people from all over the Web3 space. We will be covering the topics that you want to hear.
And some topics you don't want to hear, knowing us.
Very likely. But you should still listen to those episodes for our unique take and taste. Until next time, this has been Share What You're Making with Chair and Bacon.
You going to say it, Chair?
When the microfave beeps, you know that it's done. Thank you, folks.
You're not gonna give it that juicy exit line? That juicy.
Yeah, I wrote something amazing, folks. But let's just play the music. Okay, let's just do. We'll just keep rolling. Okay, so let's just try to do a clean job.
Okay, let's make this as difficult for me to edit as we possibly can.
Follow Chair at twitter.com/verycomfy. That's VRYCMFY.
Wait, do I have to do my Twitter now too?
Only if you have one.
I have one, but it's kind of gross. It's like old and it's full of like weird tweets from when I was in college trying to flirt with this girl. It's
Nice.
all right. Well, I'm
Just kidding.
sure.
Just make a new one, dude. Don't worry about it. Just make a new one.
Well, should I make a new one or should I just
Yeah.
edit out what is currently in mine and just like refresh it?
No, make a new one.
What about all my 20 followers, Chair? What about hidden gems that show the storied past of Bacon? It's like my life history.
Save a time PFS, man.
Okay. Yeah, well, you guys will all be able to find me on Twitter. It'll be Bacon something. I'll be following Chair, so just look for the Bacon that's following Chair. It'll be a good way to find that.
Maybe leave this in at the end of the episode so people can get a good feel for our personalities.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna leave this in. I'm definitely gonna leave a lot of this shit in. I don't know exactly which parts, but most of this is gonna get left in.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Follow me on Twitter, Gotcha Gang, MSG13. We're coming for that ass.